What's going on, everybody? We are here with Master Crafted, and we are going to talk to you today about Mind Over Meta, our weekly segment about where the meta is right now. And we just had a new update, a little balance change. Phil, what happened?
You know what? There's this detachment called more Dakka. You may or may not have heard of it. It's pretty good. It's Orc detachment that gave them inherently sustained hit 2 all the time. And then also in the WOG gave them assault. That is one of the changes, or that is one of the main things that made that army so good. That has now been changed. Now it is assault all the time, and then sustained hits 1 in the WOG. They changed 2 of the strats, one being the cost of Get Stuck In Lads, and now you can only target non-Gretchen units to be in the WOG. You can no longer touch Gretchen units with that, which is very sad for our friend Zogrod. He no longer can jail you a turn 1 with some wine Gretchen in your face, and they have to walk up the board normally, and that is now 2 CP. So a significant difference there for the detachment as a whole. There were no points changes, which is nice, and I think super impactful for maintaining the integrity of the other detachments, because orcs do have a lot of great detachments, and that definitely doesn't change anything super crazy going forward. And the last strat they changed was long uncontrolled bursts. It used to be pick a unit, didn't even need line of sight, everyone targeting that unit ignores cover. That is no longer the case. It is now just 1 CP orc unit, give them ignore cover. That's perfectly fine. There are multiple armies that would either love that or use that consistently. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, definitely a big. I don't know. I'm curious to see where it's going to end up. We've talked a little bit about it. We definitely still think it. It is not dead. You can still definitely play it. It's just not going to be running people over like it was, which is good. That's we'll start there. We'll take that as a balance update. Has shifted it down to something that's not going to be, this week it was 62% on the win rate, so bringing that down, that's great. We'll take that for starters. Personally, I think it's gonna get just so much less play that we're actually just not gonna have the data to know if it's truly viable still. I think a lot of people are just gonna shift off of it and just throw their hands up and say, well, it's dead, I'm not even going to try. I think is going to actually, in the coming weeks, we're just going to see a much lower win rate than's actually possible with it. I think it still has some things in it. I think it's just going to suffer the most from not having people who really can pilot it like super well running it anymore. That's my biggest concern.
I mean, that's fair. There are other things in the meta that are meta menaces for sure. I do think this is going to be around the 50 to 52% win rate for the guys that are still playing it, guys and girls that are still playing it. I think it's still really solid. I don't think orc players, you have anything to worry about. And honestly, you have so many good detachments. If you're like fed up with this, you can play another one and you'll be just fine. Looks like they learned their lesson with the Slanesh detachment, Legions of Excess, because they gave that the old triple nerf bat, and no one is playing that at all anymore. This feels moderately reasonable. This definitely still feels like it has a lot of tools. So, yeah, it's good still.
Yeah, I think the biggest shift is probably going to be Flash Gits now become the All-Star instead of Ludas, just because they didn't rely so heavily. Their ballistic skill wasn't the 6-up, and being able to advance and also shoot, they're just going to use it a lot more. I think they're going to be what we see people taking 3 of now. So.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, well, we can breathe a sigh of relief as promised. I will say this is pretty close to what, Lane, you and I said when we talked to Michael Mann about the changes we would make to the detachment. This is pretty close to what I'm thinking. So obviously that must mean GW, you listen to our little YouTube channel. We appreciate it if you could send us free things. That would be fantastic, but I don't think that will happen.
Yeah, I'm just glad we're being heard, and our opinions obviously have some weight because they listen. But yeah, what they didn't hear is us talking about Ynnari, and they didn't touch that at all. Which was surprising to me. I thought they might sneak at least one little tweak in there with the emergency data slate. Nothing.
Yeah.
Eldari shall be, without orcs in the way, I think Eldar, they were 57 this week. They're going to be pushing 60 in the weeks to come. So.
That is, I think, perfectly fair. When there's a vacuum of power, someone's going to have to pop up and take that space. We already are looking at an Iliad army that is very, very good. I would say Wind Rider Host is a little bit of an outlier because you only have 3 players playing it right now. So they are doing well with it. They have a 75% win rate, and they're definitely pulling that up. But Iliad in terms of amount of games played and the players that are playing it, does have a very, very nice data for us to actually look at. And I think one of the most important things for you guys that are looking at data like this for the first time, in terms of what we value. So, like, for example, one thing I value a lot is how many times do they go 4-0? Like a 2-day tournament, are they going 4-0 between day 1 and day 2? 13% of people between day 1 and day 2 playing Iliad are going 4-0. 0% of Windrider hosts are going 4-0. Same with Zero Council, same with Spirit Conclave. All the others besides Aspect hosts, that is the only detachment that is actually going 4-0 at the start of a tournament. You may ask why that matters. It's just those are the people that actually stand a chance to win the tournament the majority of the time. Like, you need to pretty much be undefeated to stand a chance at winning like these bigger tournaments that are like above 120 players. So yeah, it makes a difference. And with the absence of more Dakka, Iliad will find a way to thrive.
Yeah, I can. But I'm at least glad I only have to be teching for one super strong army now. I'm not trying to worry about orcs and Ynnari at the same time. I mean, generally they had similar-ish counterplay to some extent, but even then. While you're speaking of 4-0 starts, though, the one that really impressed me this week is Space Wolves actually have a 13% 4-0 start. That is not something I would have had on my bingo card. I'm just curious, like, why do you think Space Wolves are actually, doing pretty well getting started and then just falling off at the end, only having a 51% overall and no tournament minutes?
Yeah, so I think Stormlance is a good detachment. I think it's got good rules. I think it has good tools, and I think Space Wolves as a whole, if you're running Logan Grimnar, if you're running Ragnar Blackmane, they have some great characters. They have some great support. And honestly, just Space Marines being Space Marines. So having an army that has advanced charge and all the strats in Stormlands, I think is really solid. I will say, I think we're going to see this decrease. Not necessarily because Stormlands is bad, but you're going to have a lot of players that are getting ready to play with their new Space Wolf toys, and they're getting all excited about it. And they're jumping on the faction now, before the faction even comes out, because they want to get reps with it before they get their new models. So understandable. Space Wolves were my first army, unfortunately. It was like a little kid army, and I do not have it anymore. But seeing those new Space Wolf models definitely excited me. It definitely looked really, really cool. I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to see them on the board. But I do think people are playing it and we're gonna keep seeing that player count rise. We might see a drop in win percentage, but it'll still be in a good spot.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what all else comes. I'm a big Lehman Russ fan myself, particularly the tank version. But I'd still be happy to see him come back and show up on the board. I think people are ready for another Primarch. So
yeah, I
give
guess
the people what they want.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else that really has been catching your eye this week?
Yeah. So once again, Imperial Knights still dominant, still closer to the top of the meta with win percentage. They do have a good player base. You have 42 players that are playing it right now. They are managing to go 4-0, 7% for 7% of players. They do have a tournament win, which is good. They're only going to get better. When orcs drop down, right, like those flash gits and ludas and all those things that can really pick up with the amount of shooting that they have, they can go up and pick up multiple baby knights a turn. Now they don't have to worry about that. They are still going to be like at the top of the meta. So if you are planning to go to a tournament or anything like that, you just need to be cognizant of that is something that you can definitely face, and it's very, very, very good.
Yeah. Yep. Imperial Knights. I hate to see them. I even try to take lethals and combined just to help deal with tanky bodies like that. Still hate it. Absolutely hate it. The other one that really I thought has been doing pretty well and made it towards the top is Plague Legion, getting a little bit more representation now. 6 players and 27 games. They're running a 63% win rate. They're finally getting some more play now, and they're doing well.
They are doing well. Now, they don't have a tournament win yet. They haven't been able to go 4-0, but they are, and this is going to sound very strange, they are a meta menace. They are a categorized meta menace for Phil. I definitely categorize them as such, mainly because of one reason. Because they interact in a way that usually is bad almost across the board. Right? No one has actually been able to do Battle Shock well besides Tyranids, really, and they just get that once per game Shadow turn. Nothing necessarily super crazy, and it stands out, right? Like, we have not been able to get an army that does Battle Shock well. Nurgle Demons, specifically Plague Legion, does Battle Shock well. They're able to force multiple battle shocks at the right modifiers. They can pick up models. They can do damage. They can affect your primary. They can do all those things. So overall, it is very, very, very good. I think it's good detachment. I think it's good army. I think it's very interesting, and it forces you to play the game in a little bit different way. And I will say it's going to be one of those things that you could potentially see. And man, like my Gene Stealer cult really don't want to see Plague Legion, as I said before, because one, it's a bunch of 12, 13 bodies, and forcing me to take like leadership 8 battle shocks, which is not fun.
No, it is not fun. Yeah, I've only had the one game into it, and it's the only one that really, really, as you were saying with Tyranids, they can do some battle shock stuff, but Plague Legion actually makes it work. And it really just can swing the game if you know what you're doing as a pilot. And I think we're going to see more of it on the rise. Their data sheets have all gotten better or cheaper, or in general, I think they are going to see more play, even with the new one, Shadow Legion. Shadow Legion's been doing good, but Plague Legion, I think it's just one of those things that people have a harder time teching against versus Shadow Legion, fast melee, and things like that. People can be ready for a little easier than that army that just comes along and battle shocks you and says, no, you don't do that.
Yeah, it can feel pretty bad.
Oh man. All right, I gotta bring it up again. Lines of the Emperor sitting at 46%, man. I know you've gotten a few more games in now since you've been back. What are your thoughts on the Lions?
It's very good. It is very good. I rank it very highly. I have been very successful with it. As I said previously, Custodians as a whole is a very large player base. So you have a lot of people that collect the army and play the army. And we have 49 players still playing Lions of the Emperor. And the 46% win rate, you may be like, oh, Phil, you're a dumbass. Like, that's not good. It's at the bottom percentile of win rate. Don't tell me an army's bad. It does not go how you want it to go. I will try to prove you wrong, but this is definitely not one of those cases. Lions of the Emperor has every tool that you would need. They are managing to go 4-0, 8% of that for 8% of players, which is awesome. They have a 1.36 overrep. They have tournament wins. They are effective. They are able to go out there and compete with the best armies. And now that Dakka is gone, not gone, like it's not going to be as impressive. I think Custodians are going to be one of those armies that benefits significantly because I don't like Ari. Yes, it's good. I am concerned about it, but I have ways to trade out of things. I have a fight on death that is very good. I can heroic. I have advance and charge. I have fallback and shoot and charge. Like I have tools that can deal with those armies. I didn't have much that could deal with Dakka orcs. Genuinely.
Yeah. Tank busters into custodes didn't really feel good.
No, the Ludas into me as well. Stripping my cover was not fun. Yeah, did not enjoy that in the slightest. Lions will continue to benefit. Lions are still good. Don't worry, Adeptus Custodians fans. They are still really, really solid.
Yeah. I mean, and they still had a 12% X and 1 rate, which is still a pretty good stat getting started here as that faction is really getting some more play.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good to see.
All right, Lane, I got to know now, why aren't you running Siege Regiment? Because that's obviously the best attachment. 60% win rate.
Oh, man, let's see. How many people are playing it, though? Let me get it pulled
up
here.
4 players.
4 whole players. Well, if I ran it and I was 5, that win rate would probably drop to like 52%. If I'm going 2 and 4 with it, it's just going to hurt their stats. I don't want to do that to them. I'm going to stick with combined arms. We got a 57% win rate, and of the 4-0 starts, combined arms is the one that's at 17% and hammers at 8. So if you want to talk about having the legs to make it to the end game of a tournament, combined is the one to go with.
And that's the one you're most comfortable with.
Siege might have the better win rate, but Yep, I'm excited. We've talked a little bit about it. That 12 Bullgrin or not for me. I'm super excited. There's a tournament up in Montana we're going to this weekend, and I decided I'm sticking with the 12 Bullgrin because there's search and destroy missions all day 2, and so I just got to outplay first day, and day 2 people are just going to have 12 Bullgrin in the midboard round 1. So might as well give people problems. So
I mean that'll definitely give people problems for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you're happy with that? You're looking forward to a little bit of Beer Hammer, right? That's the tournament up in Montana.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a great time. We're going to go up to Clyde Park, which is by Livingston. It should be a grand old time. Looking forward to meeting a lot more of the people up there in the Montana community. I know I've been a part of their Discord for a little while. We've got a few of them following here on the channel now, and hoping to get some good interviews with some of their players, some of the tournament organizers, and help them get the word out about their own events up there as well. It should be a great week.
Yeah, yeah. Can't wait to hear how it goes. Hopefully, the Astra Militarum still stands strong.
Yeah, we'll see. We're gonna be trying to at least go 4-1, if not get the 5-0. But it's they've got some pretty stiff competition up there, from what I hear. There's some sharks that live up in the mountains up north. So
I can't wait. I can't wait. It's
we'll see.
also good to get those
We'll
good
see.
reps before our team tournament coming up at the end of May. You definitely need those reps going in because that team tournament, if Montana is full of sharks, so is Denver 40K Fight Club because those teams, as I'm seeing already,
Yeah,
are jam packed. We're talking about some of the best players in the
yep.
country and in the state come down to play at a very, very competitive level. So I don't know. I've had a blast for both of my team tournaments. I'm looking to have another fun one with Denver 40K Fight Club. I don't know. Are you excited, Lane? Are you excited for some teams?
I'm so ready. That we've been using Stat Check a lot for this segment in particular. They've got the matchup matrix on here that kind of goes over how each faction does into each other and their differentials. Super handy for that, and I'm sure we're gonna have a video going over everything you need to know for doing teams. But just looking on here, looking at guard, and I'm just like, man, not a lot of reds. So, I'm always happy to see that. Not too many things I need to be worried about as our guard player. Makes me feel confident of either, being a defender or cleaning up at the bottom. So, I'm always ready for teams, man. I gotta get another 40, 50 hours of prep the week beforehand once lists are out. So that'll be fun, helping team get ready. But it's gonna be a blast. That's the next big event for us, and I can't wait. It's so fun.
Yeah, that is going to be really enjoyable. We are going to do a whole series as we get ready for the team tournament. We're not going to share any of the super secret tech because, believe it or not, Lane and I are not on the same team. We will have to play against each other, and I don't want to give him any advantages for when we eventually match up and play against each other at teams. So he'll have to do it.
Yeah.
He'll have to do it purely based on skill. But
Yeah.
we've already talked about it before. We have some new units that have come out as well. The main one is World Leaders has gotten that new infiltrate unit. Now, I don't think there's no way to tell without looking through all the lists of any armies that are going to be using that unit, but it's only a matter of time because I don't know in what world where you don't take them, honestly, for a unit that relies on scout, advance and charge, and all of those things. Like, yeah, you use an infiltrate unit. Hands down has to be in there.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
We're
Get
going to
more
see
of
them
your
go up
units
more.
out into the mid board early, please. That's all I ask.
I mean, World Leaders will do that.
Yep. Can't wait.
We're going to see them, I think, increase in win percentage. Fair?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They have to. I mean, when you can't get jailed and you lose, I mean, people basically just stopped taking Invocatus because you couldn't guarantee scouts because everybody just knew I'll just put infiltrators down, and I don't even have to put him down first. I can see where you put him and then block you. Like what's the point of taking him if it's not gonna lead you to scouting anything? So being able to take that again, getting some of that earlier board pressure definitely is going to help the win rate for World Eaters. And hopefully, I'm always an advocate for more World Eaters in the meta. I know on our matchup ratings that guard is like 44% win percentage against them for some reason. I don't know how, but I'm always happy to see more World Eaters in the meta. I don't know. I don't think they're a problem for guard, but at least not with all my damage.
I would say you are a unique individual for guard. One, we have a lot of World Leader players in the community, so you do play them often. And you have a World Leaders player up there in Wyoming, in Ryan, that you had multiple games into. So you're relatively comfortable with the matchup and stuff like that. For people playing in a World Leaders for the first time, like maybe they get ran down by a 6-man of Exalted 8-bound and a bunch of 3-mans, and like you don't know how to deal with that pressure. And I understand that because that can be a lot, especially if you're playing into them for the first time.
Yeah. They definitely are still fast and they are scary, but and that's another thing I'd like to really do a screening video and why it's so important and how to do it against the different armies and things that fly, things that don't have it, things that are dropping to shoot. want to go over all of that, we'll definitely cover that as well. But if you learn how to screen as a guard player and you have any amount of tanks with damage 3, World Eaters should not be a problem for you. We'll see. Anything else this week on the Mind Over Meta? Any other things that really stood out?
It's disappointing to see Tau at the bottom. I know they definitely catch a lot of hate, but I like the detachment. I like the new detachment. I like Auxiliary Cadre. I think it's very good. It's a high skill expression army for sure. And once again, I'm very fortunate to have guys like Matt Murrell and John Commons here in the Colorado area, and we get to play against them often, and they are two of the best Tau players in the country. So, but unfortunately, I know Matt has gone off Tau, and John is like looking at playing other armies as well. It is disappointing to see him at the bottom. I know they catch a lot of hate. Thousand Sons are just waiting for their new detachment. They're just waiting for their new codex, and I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be very good. Not many people are playing Deathwatch. Not many. No. Partially due to the faction being hard to collect. We're talking about models that like are either firstborn models or are units that are like not used often. I'm still running Deathwatch. I'm in the middle of painting them all, and I've converted all the firstborn Deathwatch veterans to be Primaris. That way, when eventually something changes, I have them all good to go. But also, I don't want to buy firstborn models. I'll use them for something else if I absolutely have to. So, yeah, it's just a different army to collect, and I enjoy it. I enjoy my Space Marines for sure. What about you, Lane? Any final thoughts that stand out to you in terms of this meta?
Not really. Nothing really popping out. Nothing is really blowing me away this week. It's all very similar. I'm the most excited for once, Orcs, Dakka is not on our stats anymore, and Emperor's Children are. I'm excited to see how that addition is really going to shake things up. I am not sure where they're going to land. I've heard some people who are really enjoying it. I've heard some people who are underwhelmed, and I can't wait to see how it shakes out. So.
An army with advance and charge, fall back and charge, and shoot and charge is going to cause problems for a lot of factions. So they're going to get wins somewhere, but I will say I've played against them now 3 times, and all 3 times with Custodes, and they are not close games because I have Fight on Death, I have tools to deal with it. I'm okay with Custodes. Genestealer Cult, probably a little different, but they definitely have some rough matchups, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm leaning a lot more towards they're going to be more mid-table menace than meta menace overall. I think they're going to still have a good win rate, but it's going to be, they're going to get a fair amount of wins, but they're going to have hard times winning tournaments because one bad matchup will just ruin it all, and I think they have a fair amount. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all right, I think that's it for our Mind Over Meta segment this week. And yeah, anything else, Phil?
Make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to do our video series for getting ready for teams. We're also going to have it's going to be a preparation video. So all the things that Lane and I are doing to prepare. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a tool. I'll give you a little sneak behind the curtain of the tool that Denver 40K Fight Club uses for organizing matchups and stuff like that, and ranking those things and the information that we require for all the guys on our team to submit, and then how we get ready for a tournament. So like how we evaluate the terrain pack, the mission pack, other lists. What are we doing to prepare our own lists, right? Like how much consideration are we taking towards the meta, and how much consideration are we taking just playing what we're comfortable with? So that'll be really good. Can't wait to share that, and make sure you tune in. We are, believe it or not, Lane, we're 30 subscribers away from 200 subscribers, which is awesome. So thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. So you guys can listen to us ramble about 40K, and please subscribe, like the video, send it to your buddies. Anything would help. But at the end of the day, we just love talking about 40K.
We hit 200. We'll have to do another live stream.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. This time, we'll have our shit figured out a little better. Won't be as fuzzy this time around. But, super thankful for everybody who's been liking and following and watching. Don't forget, if you haven't already, to subscribe, like the videos, comment. It all helps us out. And do not forget that victory isn't given. It's forged, and it's forged right here on Mastercrafted. And we'll see y'all next time.